Hey everyone, D here, and welcome to another episode of Fans of S.H.I.E.L.D., where we are diving into what many are already calling one of the best episodes of the season, if not the series itself. Also, a wondrous and quite impressive directorial debut of Gemma Simmons herself, Miss Elizabeth Henstridge. So really excited to get to dive into all of that. To my, is it right, left, on the side of me right here, I can't tell for my direction, it's Mr. Rob Stone from Smoking Gun Reviews.
What's up, everybody? A lot of emotions to talk about this week. Can't wait to do it. I love this. This is such a good episode.
And on the far side of the screen, like the far coast from me, Mr. Don Willie from A Dawn of Ice and Fire.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Glad to be back for another episode of Fans of S.H.I.E.L.D. And, oh boy, this was a tough one.
Yeah, I hope everybody brought their tissues. I rewatched the episode just a little bit earlier today. Was already tearing up again. So the emotions may be flying as we talk about this. Look, before we get started, I do want to make a couple of quick little announcements. First off, I said at the end of last episode, I wanted to be sure to do it at the beginning of this one, our big fan chat special. We had one at the mid-season. We're doing one more, but we're doing it a week earlier than the finale. The finale is 2 hours. It's 2 episodes. It's going to be a lot to go through. We may all be very emotional again. So we're going to go ahead and do it the week prior. So August 7th, Friday, August 7th, will be our fan contribution special. So please join us live if possible. We'll send out a link. You can join us right here on screen. We can share questions, chats, theories of what we think the end of the show is going to be. Should be all very exciting. So that's going to be in 2 weeks from now. And that is August 7th. Also, want to make one other little announcement. One of our longtime watchers, Jaka Doobie, put us all in our place last week with our discussion of Jiang and Afterlife and were there plot holes. And of course, we know that Gordon learned his powers in Afterlife, which means that Jiang, sorry, I'm saying it all very quick again, was already there. She left Afterlife after Cora's suicide, and that is where she went and met Cal and had their affair, and then eventually had Daisy. So, no, there are no plot holes here about her being in Afterlife. She was in Afterlife because she helped train Gordon, and we know that Gordon is in Afterlife by the time that we show up. He shows up earlier in 1983. So, thank you, Jaka Doobie. You put us all in our place. We got so caught up in the minutia, we missed the obvious clue of Gordon being there. So thanks so much. All right. So let us start off, as we always do, with Dawn telling us what you thought of our episode. Everyone pull out your tissues now.
So, every time the time stream breaks, the Chronicom earns his wings. This one was a hard one. I literally just got finished watching it like right before we came back on here. I watched it for the second time. Like I was telling the guys, whenever I see someone with the big self-sacrifice play, it always gets me right here. Especially like it's different the first time going around because you don't know what's going to happen. But going back the second time around and knowing like that, he's going to sacrifice himself for the team for the greater good without hesitation. Yeah, man, that was tough, But let's start from the beginning of the episode. First off, the Groundhog Day setting, like it's been done plenty of times, but I think it worked to great effect here, especially when you institute Coulson in, and Coulson is explaining to Daisy, like, yeah, look, every time you actually die before the loop resets, we got to go through this whole rigmarole again. But, look, just try to do what you can to stop yourself from dying. So this way, we can kind of keep up. Then we loop in different agents as time goes along. So Susa gets roped in, and then later on, Mac, Yo-Yo, May get looped in, Deke gets looped in, and then finally, at the end of it, finally Enoch gets looped in because we find out he has been the reason why things have kind of went awry, because they have to finally get rid. They have to not get rid of, but take out Simmons's implant in order to get the knowledge of how to fix the predicament that they're in. And we still don't know what it is that she was kind of freaking out about, because she did something. She did something, and now she totally forgot about it because of the implant. And I'm guessing once she actually takes out the implant for good, that's when we're gonna find out like what it is that she did that she has this great regret about. And I'm guessing it has something to do with Fitz. Yeah, man. But this is first off, Elizabeth Henstridge, great job. Great job for directorial debut. Um, I mean, man. Listen, Enoch. Enoch has been around since season 5. He came in as this kind of weird robotic guy that was like, all right, well, how am I gonna feel about it? And seeing his relationship uh, with Fitz over season 5, and those two becoming really good friends. And now to see like he had to say goodbye, and his friend wasn't even there. Damn, that hurt, man. That hurt. I know people are gonna be looking at this. They're gonna look like this motherfucker's like crying over a damn fictional robot. It's like Enoch was our friend. He was a friend of you that you had in real life. So yeah, man. I don't know what else to say. I don't want to take up too much time here, looking like a baby robot. All right, but yeah, man. Rob, Darren, take it away. What do you guys see?
All right. Well, first off, Rich, for the Rich room, it does look like I'm tearing up. There's a lot. I'm having an allergic reaction to something in the air, and I was rubbing my eye, so I look like I got pink eye right now. But it's really actually messing me up. So this is a perfect video to just start letting them go. Oh.
The emotions are real, man. You gotta let yourself feel it.
But I mean, to jump off of what he said. I mean, yeah, of course. But it was also one of the funniest episodes they've ever done. It was funny until it just wasn't. It was funny all the way through. And then boom, we just got that, it makes it even worse when you get that knockout punch where the stakes were very, very high. But tonally, we had a lot of fun with it. And then they just kicked us right in the stomach as hard as they could. And it's like a lot of comedies, right? Where it's just like there's joke, mixed in with the plot, and then they usually get serious right there in the third act, and then they start with the jokes again. So it followed a really good formula. Henstridge did an amazing job at directing. we got character stuff in here that weaved in and out, that, you know, with Susa and Daisy. We got mysterious stuff going on with, like you said, with Simmons. We don't really know what she was crying for, what she really got emotional about. We saw how Coulson feels about watching his friends die. We did get some Daisy Coulson moments in there early where you get to see how great their dynamic is. And if you've ever watched any of their like videos on YouTube together, they just have it like this in real life. Mm-hmm. And just seeing them play off each other, and again, Clark Gregg just having a ball with this script, and how the situation got all of them involved. It showed, one of the reasons why it's such a great episode is the whole team was solving a problem internally. We didn't have any outside cast members. We didn't have anything to distract us from what was going on. It was just our group of people dealing with one specific problem. It was kind of a bottle episode, I guess you'd call it like that. And sometimes that works and sometimes that doesn't. And here everything worked. And then we lose Joel Stouffer as Enoch, who is just like Don was saying, he's a fictional robot, and I don't usually care about those kind of characters. I don't. But I've liked him since the beginning, and now, like, I think I said in a previous episode that we did that he was gonna die and sacrificing himself, and boom, that's exactly what happened.
You totally called it, yeah.
And I don't like to be right all the time, because once I realized what was going to happen, and I knew that once they even mention what has to be done to save everyone, he's already done it. He's already done it. He takes away any of their decision making because he knows that they would agonize over it and they don't have the time. And it's just, and they gave him that great moment to talk about it, and it resonates with LMD Coulson. And there were just so many things that when you really watch it as a whole, and after watching it a second time like everybody else did today, it's just such a beautiful episode. And I don't know, we've got so much more to talk about. I don't want to take up any more time either, right? So I want to hear more about I want to hear what Darren's going to say. But it's just, there's only like one thing in this that I didn't really care about, but that's we'll talk about that later.
Yeah, and I think we're all going to agree on that one too. Yeah, what I'm going to say is hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us live right here in the chat. I did not say hello when we first came in. I was so distracted with everything else. So Corey, April, Ruth Smith, Lily Mack, The Rich Room, of course, Babaro, Shake and Bake 228, Dean, let's see, everybody, Devra, of course, in with us. So yeah, everyone here, a lot of questions, a lot of love for the episode in here. Definitely, we all agree, Elizabeth Henstridge. And yeah, an amazing amount of scope to tackle, because yeah, we had a great Groundhog Day premise, which is usually hijinks. We had the mystery throw-ins, we had the fun, we had the mystery, we had the real serious, deep emotional point. And I really, to her strength, I love the choice of her spending so much time uncut with that final scene. That we had the brief in the middle of Enoch walking in, and that sort of already melancholy tone for the room. They only cut away one little bit to have Deke and Gemma just putting in the little, Chronicom energy heart, basically, into the time machine. And outside of that one little cut, they spent the entire time with Daisy and Enoch and Coulson. And yes, Enoch slowing down. It was a great small thing how he was speaking a little more of his normal pace in the beginning, and it slowly dropped down, his pacing, his emotion, his self slowly ticking down through the scene. I mean, it was just so much, so much was done in there. So yeah, I do want to spend a little bit of time talking about that, because there was a lot there really hitting on the real mark of mortality, which was the theme that was playing through Coulson this episode. When he has that one little moment with Daisy where he kind of reveals, we've seen him being sarcastic and snippy and not typical Coulson-y. until we find out why is it, man. He's freaking out about his humanity or lack of humanity. He doesn't know who he is. He doesn't know what he is. He can be without a body and still exist. He can have feelings and emotions, but unassociated with anything. And now he realizes through this time loop that he's cursed to watch everyone die because of his long life, of something he never asked for. So, I mean, they really start in the midst of this comic episode with some very heavy questions on what it means to be self, what it means to be alive, what it means to exist, to have family and connections, loneliness. So yeah, Rob, tell us about loneliness here. Tell us about what is that you think about in the sense of this real kind of depth of mortality, of not only giving Clark Gregg a real moment to dive in and have a serious kind of issue to tumble with, a sense of his mortality, but then linking it up and in a way kind of giving a gift of it back at the end when we lose Enoch.
Man, watching him struggle, ever since he came back, it's been kind of a quiet thing. He's always done it with the usual Coulson kind of attitude. But as the season has gone on, we've seen the toll that it was taking on him, little by little, until it comes in here. And I mean, even with what happened with Enoch getting left behind and wondering what the repercussions were for that, for him, and him getting to express that here, like, we knew that he was feeling something. We just weren't aware of what it was going to be. But Coulson's whole thing, I mean, his superpower being dying, and this curse of, like, again, he's almost a man out of time too. Mm-hmm. Same as Susa, same as Steve Rogers. They have that whole theme going on, and him knowing that he can just keep going without all these people that are his family. Again, goes with what Enoch was saying. I was alone and I preferred it, but it wasn't until I met you guys that I understood, like, that being alone meant you felt lonely. And Coulson telling him, like, you're right in a way about being alone. It's a lonely experience, dying. He can speak from experience, but that, it's leaving, you're doing the easy thing in the end. It's those of us left behind that have to, be without you and waiting to join you. I mean, I don't usually get that, like, emotional about death scenes before, and it just really made me think about, like, my own mortality and watching, like, what's going to happen, what happens to all of us.
Right.
And, as I'm getting older and I'm seeing family members fade away and someday, seeing friends of mine, and it's just all, I don't know, like, I didn't look up who wrote this episode, but they did a really fantastic job of capturing that feeling in silly moments and in heartfelt moments this week. And I really hope that they give Clark some kind of hopeful ending to this series when it's all said and done, especially with after what Enoch told Daisy. I don't know how that's going to play out. Well, I mean, I have my guesses. I think I kind of guessed last week, but I don't know. I got nothing else. This is actually getting really deep.
But I think that was kind of the power of that speech, because in many ways it did, I think, hit on many levels. It wasn't just dealing with Enoch's loss. It wasn't just dealing with necessarily Coulson's bit. I think it was a message to us, the fans, as well. When he talks about that is the nature of family. Things are born and thus we celebrate their life. Then we lose them and we mourn and then we grieve their loss. All we have is the time in between. And in many ways, considering this is as he tells Daisy, this is your final mission. I also feel it's like Enoch talking to us about the show, is this is the nature of things. Shows are born and shows die. This will be the final mission. We all know this. It's one of those where just there were so many layers in with that. Don, how's your take on Coulson's mortality and sort of, again, the back and forth? Drew Greenberg, April has mentioned here in the chat. Thanks you so April. Much. Was the writer on this episode. He's been tweeting all week, very excited for us to see this episode. So yeah, for certain. Sorry, Don, go right ahead.
Not a problem. Like I said, for one, Enoch, seeing him go through what he went through, obviously hit home. But then even, the back and forth with him and Coulson, where Coulson is basically consoling him and letting him know that what he's doing is ultimately for the greater good, and that just because he's going on this part of the journey alone, it doesn't make him lonely, because he is part of the cycle,
circle of life, man.
Yeah, so, like I said, he's watched people go through the same thing for thousands of years, and he never knew it would be his turn one day, but now that it is, he's like, man, so this is how it feels, And Coulson was just kind of, bringing him the reality of, this is what it is, but it's so much greater than this moment, It's the sum total of everything that you've experienced, and then those experiences carry on with the people who have been with you throughout this time. So, even though you might go, you're not really gone, and that's the thing that I liked about it is like, hey, while he's thinking, okay, well, it's over for me, you might as well just go on ahead and just live your life. Just like, no, we want you to know that this moment here is as special as anything that's ever happened. And that is why we don't want you to feel as though you're going to go through this process alone. So, Daisy and Coulson staying with him was very admirable, obviously. And, it's something that if anyone was going through that in real life, you would hope that you would have friends or family who would, do the same for you as well.
Yeah.
So,
well, also that Coulson's kind of breakthrough in his way of dealing with his own issue came in comforting Enoch. And within that was able to kind of find his own answers. I mean, with Daisy as well, continuing that conversation. It's but we are all together in our loneliness in the end. So, yeah, you go through that alone, but it's something everybody does. So it's very deep to hit us all with. And no, I am tearing up. It is not allergies right here.
I just want to mention Drew Greenberg. He's worked on a lot. No wonder this is a good script, because he's worked on Buffy the Vampire Slayer. He did an episode of Firefly. He worked on Smallville, Dexter, The Clone Wars, so and other episodes of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. So yeah, and I'm looking at the ones he did, and yeah, this was a perfect writer for this episode.
Right on. Well,
Greenberg.
The show is always good with putting things together, pieces together. And they definitely had a lot of belief in Elizabeth to carry all of this off. Again, who just did it with great choices of camera work. I believe in your review, Rob, you were mentioning the saving of time while we missed all of these great fights during our what I like to call the murder montage. seeing just the punchline was all that we needed. Seeing the piles of bodies at the end, and they're just the comic little between Daisy and Coulson of like, oh, that didn't work. Oh, this was much harder than I thought. And then you see Gemma pops up and she's got her comments, and then just it slowly grows.
Botanum.
Yeah.
I was going to suggest that we say it all at once before we went on, but I forgot. I was like, man, we should have started it with just all of us saying phlebotinum.
Apparently, that actually does really mean something.
Yeah.
I forget exactly what the meaning is, but there is an actual meaning to that word.
Let's see. Phlebs, what is it, heart or lung? No, phlebs, heart. So was it the heartbeat? I'd have to look it up.
It's well.
Okay, you look it up while we chat.
The process of making a puncture in a vein, usually in the arm.
Okay, there you go. So an IV type kind of.
But that's phlebotomy. I don't know what phlebotomon means, but it's something along those lines.
Sure, medical doctor probably makes sense. Yeah. She comes up with something like that. Yeah. But yeah, a lot of fun with the choices, and I think. Part of what I think really made the episode work as well is the pacing. Everything was quick. There wasn't time wasted. We had our moments, the repeat of the opening sequence and the title screen and all.
Yeah, I thought that was awesome.
That was brilliant.
Yep.
That makes us feel like, did we just see this already? We're almost, we're right in there with Daisy. I think it was a great choice. The fact that they don't waste time on explanations. Everybody pretty much, while they really make a thing of Susa's whole acceptance of let's just do what needs to be done. And we'll talk about Susa in a little while. I love how everybody really doesn't waste time in trying to figure things out. The second time, Daisy's like, I'm in a time loop. I need to figure out what's going on. Then Coulson comes in, clears up what all they do. Why is it the two of them? I don't know. The latest theory is we were both in alien healing chambers, and they don't have to say anything else. I mean, all of this stuff, it was like, all the thoughts, great, dealt with them, let's move on. And I think it not only was a great commentary on the intelligence of the crew and their teamwork in the sense of like, oh, you're telling me this is what it is? Okay, I better do it before I change my mind, which was a great repeating gag with Gemma Simmons every time she was told what needed to be done. I think it was great because it was allowed them to hit so many things within 44 minutes.
Yeah, and it shows that they had trust and faith in us, that we understand that we don't need to be told a bunch of times. We get it. This was an episode that new fan, somebody just walking in could enjoy, but for being a longtime fan, this is like us being kind of included in the team while you're watching it. We have the shorthand the same as they have the shorthand. We don't need to have so much exposition explained to us when it's just this team of these characters. We don't have to worry about telling the A, B, C characters in the background. We all know it. I mean, I loved so many beats in this episode that it's definitely in the top 5. Yeah, I mean, I usually take like one page, but I had like 2 pages today. But it's just they really did. They trusted us as an audience to get it, that we wouldn't be lost in what was going on. Like, what caused this? Wait, what? It just trimmed all the fat, and like you said, and like I said in my review, sometimes cutaways you lose something. In this, we gained it because we didn't have a lot of time to tell it, but they did it perfectly, and they rewarded us with hilarious moments. We're just seeing the aftermath. Would I have loved to have seen Enoch magically appear, having all those weapons that he used to take them all out, and Deke, which was my favorite, probably my favorite thing, just him dead. Should we be sad about that?
No, we do not.
I mean, what's the crazy thing about this is, from the way that that the trailer looked, I thought it was going to be a horror episode.
Oh yeah.
And they totally misdirected us, but in the best way, because you guys were saying last week that you really didn't want there to be a horror episode or this to be because this season has been a lot of genre things, and Rob, you especially were like, I don't want this to be a horror episode. And hey, look, you got your wish. We did get the Groundhog Day thing. We did get something that kind of should have been horror, but excuse me, but they found a way to undercut that with the jokes, and it's kind of what we needed,
Yeah.
especially when we got to the final scene and figuring out like, oh, this is what's gonna happen now. Oh boy, so I think they needed to lighten the mood a bit before they hit us, with the big 2-ton rock over the head.
And it was the minute they figured out what they had to do, that this was going to cost Enoch's life, the tone from the entire episode, the pacing, everything like slammed into a wall and just slowed down. I mean, it was not in a sudden, like, jarring way. It was just almost like we've all realized what has to happen. Now we take that somber moment, the collective breath. So yeah, I want to back up for a minute. The chat has been very chatty this episode, which makes me so happy. Everybody has so many thoughts and comments on in the motion. I want to try and touch on a couple of those before we move on. Shake and Bake asks, what is the age difference between Susa and Daisy? We're going to get to that. I'm going to make a note of that question right here. Shake and Bake, is Fitz okay? We're going to get to Fitz as well. Is Fitz dead? Maybe or not. We don't know yet. This hurts because Rich Room. This hurts because we had Enoch for 3 seasons and he grew on us. Yes, exactly. And again, a great character play to make us so attached so quickly. Corey asked, why couldn't the team have a download of Enoch and rebuild him like they did with Phil? What, to take away all the emotion for his loss? Actually, that is an excellent comment. I believe someone else mentions, I saw that Chronicoms might have a different connection with their energy source. See if I can get into who had made that comment. That is a good question, because was Sybil blown up? Because was she on the ship, or was she just talking to the ship through a communication device? And thus, I don't know. We know that Phil can be downloaded, but he's different. He's an LMD version with Chronicom technology. I think the Chronicoms actually need their body much like we do. I don't think they're entirely digital in that sense. Do you guys have any insight on that? I'm not sure.
It's a good question.
Yeah. Okay.
Sure. I mean, like you said, it would undercut the emotionality of it. It'd be like a comic book death, where it just doesn't really matter anymore. Everybody just comes back. And partially also, I mean, when we talked about the stuff about stakes and what Phil told Sybil about stakes, and how a Chronicom is the one that understands these stakes now. Like, he got to see what she says that they could never experience, and him proving to her, this whole moment proves that they could be better, if they wanted to be.
Right.
And more than that. And there's so much to talk about there too, but it's,
well, no, but let's take a moment, because it reminded me entirely also about Phil's conversation with Sybil when he talks about that as the difference between Chronicons as humanities. Because we have a limited lifespan, our sacrifice means something. There's a cost to it. And now we are seeing that even with Chronicoms, there can be a loss if they have that connection to other people. And I think that always comes back to, how do we define humanity? You know, is it just the biological part that we're in? Or, you know, is it the mindset ultimately as we start to expand for a Phil that's a human consciousness in a robotic body, maybe, to a Chronicom, which is all digital but confined to his, you know, when we talk about humanity, you know, are we talking about an ideal here? And you know, in that way, yes, a Chronicom could be human, could in that sense understand that sacrifice, and maybe that's the viewpoint you need to, you know, be an agent of shield, to be the defense as opposed to an offense.
And it could, you know, maybe prove useful in the future. Of maybe Enoch's sacrifice will mean even more in the finale. I don't know. You know, maybe this is just foreshadowing, a little bit of foreshadowing as well to how we will win. You know, well, I think we discussed that too.
Well, I mean, listen, you know, we all knew that the entirety of the team wasn't going to make it out. You know, we were all kind of predicting that Enoch was going to go, just probably not so soon, and it wouldn't be this emotionally impactful. You know, but damn, man, damn. You know, why did it have to be like this? You know, why did it have to be? Especially the fact that he didn't get to see Fitz one last time before he goes. You know, I mean, look, and I love the other stuff with Daisy and Coulson. You know, daddy daughter time. You know, Pops telling the kid, "Look, I didn't want this. Now I gotta wrestle with the fact that not only am I not human, but I'm basically immortal, and I'm gonna have to watch my family die one by one over the next however long." You know, and Daisy's like, "Hey, well, you know, have you thought about the fact that I've had to watch you die more than once?" And it's like, yeah, you know, that's, you know, that's still different though, because it's like, yeah, they're in a mission, and it's not like when things are over that he's just gonna, like, there's not gonna be the instance of Daisy sitting there watching everybody fade away, and then it'll be 100 years later, and her thinking about how, man, this is, you know, this is sad. I've had to spend the last, you know, century thinking about, like, the last person that died, and how I saw them grow up, or whatever may have you. So that was one different thing.
Okay. All right. Well, actually, we've got a great transition here in the chat. There's been a wondrous discussion about Susa's age. As according to the wiki, he was born in 1918, 1919. They picked him up in 1955, so he's about 37 years old. Daisy herself, born in 1988, is about, well, she would be 32 if it was 2020, but they've been time jumping, but there was a delay that they went off, so yeah, we'll say that she's between 30 and 32, depending on how much time that they have spent over the past couple of seasons in Adventure Time and real life. So not that far. There's 8-year difference between myself and my wife. So, you know, that's not that much of a difference.
In real life, Enver's 40.
Yeah, he looks a little older than...
He's got a bit of the Reed Richards whiteness and the blackness of his hair.
I mean, well, is that him in reality, or did they do that for the show? I think they did that for the show to show that he's aged since when we saw him in Peggy Carter.
Yeah,
So what I mean.
Probably they may have done that. because I guess, yeah, it's been about 5 years since the end of Carter, 4 years since the end of Carter. So Chloe Bennett's actually 28. He's actually 40. Yeah, in Hollywood, ages are always ranges as you can play. But yeah. Anyway, so yeah, fine age difference between Susa and Daisy. And then, of course, having a little step forward in their relationship. None of us were all necessarily behind all that. If I recall in our last conversation, I have to say, with Susa's little speech, I'm kind of okay with it now. He is such a great character. I love how they write him. I love how Evans plays him as just a very straightforward, calls it as he sees it, kind of guy. And you can see he has a type. This is why he liked Carter. He sees the same thing in Daisy. Someone who's aggressive, dives into things, is never going to quit, and is beaten down, and therefore is going to need someone in their back. He then gets very specific with his type afterwards. But yeah, I kind of liked his little reasoning behind it. And, she's lost a lot, even if it's a fly-by-night. At least she's grabbing good things while they're there. Because she doesn't have a good history, and who knows how long he'll last. I have to say it.
Man, you know what? No, screw that. I call BS. I don't like this. Does Daisy have to have a boyfriend? And damn it, now Deke has got to go back to wherever the hell he's gonna go and just be, the lonely dude. He's been pining over Daisy for the past 2.5 seasons or whatever. Come on, man. This is BS. Let's see his own woman.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. Rob, any additions onto that viewpoint there?
I'm like a little bit in between it because I think it's forced. I don't think it's necessary to the plot that she has another boyfriend that she could potentially lose. I feel a little bit like, he's got game, okay? He's got some game. He gave a great speech. It was very compelling, and that's the only reason why I'm kind of leaning towards saying I'm fine with it because, damn, if you're gonna say some lines out to a woman, he's saying all the right things, not for just anybody, And then throwing in the little cleverness about, and you have superpowers too. But I just felt like he was going, well, Peggy's not here, so. And I kept going back to that. I just was like, man, but you haven't been gone that long. And I know maybe you're just embracing the fact that you'll probably never go back and you won't see Peggy again and all that stuff. And so you got to get yours while you can. I can get that too. But it just, at the same time, I just kind of went, did it really have to be in there? I always like characters that can get by on mutual respect. Mm-hmm. More than always feeling like they have to force and ship somebody just so that they can. And this is the final season. So I guess it's fine because we're not going to have to deal with it for very long. Even if you know what I mean? There's only 4 more episodes, right? So it's not like I'm going to have to wade through 2 seasons or 3 seasons of breakup, makeup, kind of stuff like that. Maybe Peggy Carter shows up all of a sudden and a guest, oh, what happens when Peggy Carter shows up on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.? Is she going to get mad at Susa for leaving her so soon? So in the end, it's harmless, but it does feel forced and unnecessary.
Hey, what happens in the time loop stays in the time loop.
Yeah. Who's to stay in the damn time loop? They better not. You know what? I don't want them continuing it for the next few episodes.
The chat's kind of agreement, not a whole lot. Some people, let's see, Corey, it wasn't my first choice, but I didn't mind it, and it's better than Daisy and Deke. She also mentions that Carter has a type, time-traveling men, both Cap and Susa. Renee Dietrich, not only hello Renee, not only years but from different times, values. She doesn't buy it. April, is he really your boyfriend? He likes there, but do they really have any connection? Rich brings up Firefly back from S6 might be a possibility for Deke to connect with. Who knows? How long has it been? I mean, how long ago did they pick up Susa? Was it like a week ago? I mean, how much time has actually passed?
Yeah, that's true.
No, at this point, it may have been a few weeks. You know, at this point, it may have been a few weeks. But
okay,
I'm giving it a few weeks at most.
Well, yeah, because it seemed to be jumping. I know that they had Yo-Yo and May had 25 days before they met up with Gemma, but that's because the ship was time jumping and they had to meet back up with its other time loop, and that was the time between. It was only like 20 minutes on board the ship. So that's always weird. Plus, yeah, we had the whole 80s break. However, yeah, it has been a short period of time. And considering how long many of these relationships on the show have taken to sort of manifest themselves, it does feel a little fast. It does feel a little quick. You're right. Both of them, you're on a time ship. You got no connection in the world around. What are you going to do? You kind of let things fly to the wind and see what it is. But let's see. Ruth Smith, also welcome to the chat. Ruth, few weeks as well. Says, yeah, Daisy Deke never worked. No chemistry. Yeah. Time loop dating, no one gets hurt. That's right. That's what I thought. I mean, make out, and then they won't remember it if things don't work out well.
Because, yeah, like she kisses him, but like how many loops were there since the kiss? Did it even really, like she might remember it happened, but he wouldn't.
That's right. He will not remember that it happened because it was at least one or two loops, and he doesn't remember anything between. So she knows that he likes her, but he doesn't know that she knows that he likes her. It's like high school all over again.
God. Okay, so now I'm leaning more towards Don's side. No. Don't. If he doesn't remember, don't bring it up again. Okay. Don't bring it up again, please. Oh God. Okay.
Okay. Let's take a little bit of an aside. And unfortunately, there was one scene in this episode that I honestly pulled me out of it. I think was unnecessary, and really sometimes you got to know when to end things. And that is our post-credit scene, or post-commercial scene. With Nathaniel and Cora, and who cares? We just lost Enoch. Do we really need to take this moment and say, oh, by the way, I know that you have a sister, Cora?
No.
Yeah.
It didn't help it at all. In fact, it kind of made me mad that I stayed around. As soon as I knew it was them, I wanted to walk out of the room, but I was like, what if they say something important? And it turned out they didn't. It was just mustache twirling and her being all like, no. They could have done anything else. They could have just cut the credits, like out of respect for the dead character, and just ended the episode. I'd have been fine with that.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised they included that one in this particular episode. I mean, especially seeing how, like the focus was supposed to be Enoch. I mean, what I thought was going to wind up happening was that we're going to have like either a toast to him or something, and then you hear Nathaniel Malick was God, this fuck boy,
Now, I personally kind of like Nathaniel as a mustache twirling a villain. He's a little off base. He's a little crazy. He's got a little bit of that, Legion kind of chemistry, which, okay, I'd like that take. But after you just have this big serious moment, yeah, it was a really unnecessary scene. And I didn't need this sneak preview that, ooh, Cora can control her powers. I don't need a scene to explain that to me. You could just have her pop up and be like, oh, yeah, we've been busy, and then do something. And you can work that with a line in another part of the episode. Wasn't
that 2 weeks in a row, too, that they ended with them?
That is. They're playing with a lot of these post-credit idea. Yes. Yeah. But there is only 4 episodes left. And as someone mentioned, April here, not much time for romance in these last 4 episodes. That is very true. Also, I do want to mention, Rich Room mentions the outside void outside of the ship looks a lot like the quantum realm from both Ant-Man and Avengers Endgame, which would make sense if they're approaching towards a singularity and it's a time-space thing. Yeah, that would be that would totally make sense there. And again, they have so much fun. Again, Mark Kolpeck, I have mentioned time and time again, who is the head of the effects team for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. If you don't follow him on Twitter, I highly recommend. He talks a lot about the effect shots that he does over the week. He answers questions. Just a very cool individual. But yeah, is responsible for all of the amazing work that we get to see. So yeah, we've got 4 episodes left, 3 weeks. We've got to wrap this final mission all up. And once again, outside of knowing that there's Nathaniel with Inhumans at some point, I have no idea where they're going with this. My only guess, of course, is again, we should end up around Avengers. There's a feeling that seems like. If they don't do that, I'm fine with it. I always trust where their show is going, but I love the fact that 4 episodes at the end, I still don't know what their end game is. I'm sorry. I had to say it. So, yeah, do you guys have any idea, any guesses what I think this is, where we're going?
Next week, we're going to wrap up the Jai Ying side quest.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think we're going to get one episode. I think that episode 11, the one that we're going to do the fan one on.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're going to get another one, an episode kind of like this, a little bit. And by that, I mean our team together doing something. And I hope it's got something to do with Fitz, because I feel like we can't really have him show up in the 11th hour. Literally in like the finale, it'd be like waiting around for Topher Grace at the end of That 70s Show, you know? But I do think that like what Enoch said to her was, your friends will live on, right? But the team will be done. So I think it might go along the lines of, like I said, they might be erased from time.
Well, it seems that their
characters would still be alive in modern times, because none of this had happened yet. They'd be in, like, if the mission ends at Avengers, right?
So they fix the timeline, and then it comes up. So like they're individuals out in the world, but not together, but they have changed and saved the world type thing. Yeah.
This, as we know it, will cease to exist, but they will still be alive. Just not. It is very vague,
right?
But purposely so. So we'd wonder, you know, and be able to speculate. I'm not saying it's gonna be exactly how I put it, but I think that's gonna have something major to do with it, because we do have to fix the timeline,
right?
And with all the different waves and ripples and things that they've done, and I said maybe they would have to bake it so that they aren't there anymore. I don't know how that'll work.
You save Phil Coulson from dying in the first place. The team is never forced to be made. That all never happens. And thus the Chronicom planet, and thus Phil doesn't go into the fear dimension. His copy doesn't get made, and picks up Pachakutik and kill the Chronicom planet and start this whole. Though, of course, they could just stay Phil post season 5 and do the same thing. But, you know, they have options.
Yeah, there's plenty of ways that they can do it. I just think that it's if he's saying that nobody's gonna die, right? I don't believe that.
Yeah, no, it's not going to be that simple. Don,
But
you got a thought there?
Yeah, I mean, listen, like I said before, I'm expecting Mac to bite it towards the end. We were all expecting for for Enoch to go. I'm thinking Coulson doesn't want to live like this anymore. So I mean, that's three right there. I think,
Right.
you know, and I don't know if Deke stays around.
Yeah, well, they're iffy with the whole time loop shift, how those effects sort of lay out. So, yeah. Well, again, that's one of the things that they'll have to come up with. But almost wrapped up before talking about the most important part of this episode. Fitz! What happened to Fitz? Because when Gemma gets her memory back, she is not saying good things. It is a lot of, oh my God, what have I done? No, no, no. And even Enoch at the end talks about Fitz was my best friend, which his use of past tense and not has been my best friend, or I will miss Fitz, or you know, something along those lines. Yeah, Fitz is my best friend. I am a little concerned about Fitz. Are we going to get his episode is going to be again of those flashbacks of, and this is what happened to Fitz, which would suck. But yeah, I was not getting a good feeling out of all this. This feels more than just trying to protect Fitz. This feels more along the lines of protecting legacy or protecting the fact that she doesn't know, or that he's already dead because that he had to do that to know all these things. I don't know, but I don't have a good feeling about Fitz. You guys, any additional insights? April E. think Fitz may already be gone.
Yeah. I mean, it could just be simply, you know, she was worried that she remembered and that they would know. But like Daisy said, you know, you wouldn't remember, you know, your chip would go in, you wouldn't remember knowing. But does that mean the Chronicoms couldn't still know? Maybe. But I do think that it's not looking too good right now as far as, like, again, bittersweet kind of, and couples don't work very, you know, make it out of these kind of Whedon shows. And it's always like, I mean, if anybody knows, if you haven't watched Angel, that last season, oh boy, did they really mess with the couples in that show and in that Whedonverse show, and holy moly. I don't see it ending any better for Fitz and Simmons as much as we want it to be. I think we're gonna see something really, really nice, but then we're gonna see that, like, I mean, wasn't Fitz having a lot of conflict about his role in a lot of things before we lost him this season? He kept talking about, like, what he did as the doctor and the whole thing with the
that it was in him, even though that wasn't, you know, that potentiality was definitely within him, even though that wasn't him who did those things. That was the other Fitz, which is another thing that bothered him as well, was the things that he missed that the other Fitz did. So yeah, I don't know. They could do like a Life in a Day type thing, like, you know, Fitz and Gemma building the time machine. They had their whole life together, and at the end, she did something to get her old body back, or it's by moving through time because of time dilation theory. If you're slower or faster, time will affect you differently, and maybe she didn't age the same speed that he did, and I don't know. I mean, I want their lives together, but yeah, you're right. Couples do not end well in this show.
I mean, and it's funny because like I remember I was teasing one of my friends years ago about the whole Fitz and Simmons, and it's like, look, you're never gonna get together permanently. I mean, I didn't want to be right, but god damn it, man, like, it just seems like from the beginning they found a way to make sure that those two would not be happy, and uh, I'm like, damn it, can we just get this one fucking couple to be happy? Just get this one.
Just the one. I don't care about it. The Felinda fans, they can all do whatever. Fitzsimmons is the original couple of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. They deserve to be together regardless of anything else. And damn it, if you're going to put Daisy and Susa together, then everybody else gets together. Then you're going to have your Felinda, you're going to have your Macchio or Yo-Mac, you're going to have your...
I want to see a thumbs down. I want to see a thumbs down for Susa and Daisy, D. All right, we all... At this point, if Fitz and Simmons can't be together, Daisy.
If Fitz and Simmons, no, I will make that his my thing.
Yeah, no.
Otherwise, fine, whatever. Time stream. You're right. He's got game. That's cool. Whatever. He made a good speech. I'll go with that. But if you're gonna screw Fitzsimmons over this, I will not take that as a substitute couple.
No,
I won't stand for it. All right. I think that covers everything for this week. We're hitting about the hour point. That seems about right. Frank Cardinal throws in, I want to mention this. To keep him safe, Gemma Foot fits into the framework. That would be creepy, though, wouldn't it? It would be like a total mind mess for Fitz with the doctor idea. But, yeah. Oh, I also wanted to point out, I forgot to do it earlier. I got my official S.H.I.E.L.D. badge, finally. I got to get my own idea, so that fills.
Yeah, well, listen, man, this one is dedicated to Enoch.
Damn it.
See, you've got the bigger... See, I think my shield is too small. I think I need my badge. I think I'm going to have to make my own badge for this. But that's okay. I still like it. I love it. It looks really nice. They come from China, so this took like 3-4 months to get here. Look, there's no cons to go to. I would have bought it at a convention, but we can't go to cons.
I'm the only non-member of S.H.I.E.L.D. in this group.
we gotta get Rob a badge. We gotta get Rob a badge.
I'm gonna make my own.
If anybody has connections with anybody that goes to cons that does the S.H.I.E.L.D. badges and stuff like that, text me or Twitter me or leave a comment in this. We gotta get Rob a badge. But I think we'll go ahead and wrap things up. Thank you, everyone. Corey, Frank, April, Ruth, The Rich Room, Barbaro, who was in earlier. I don't see anything. Wow, you guys have been chatting a lot. Nice conversations this episode. This was awesome. Rena, who again says this is her first time in with us. Welcome to the chat. Everybody else who I am missing, thank you so much for joining us. Live always makes these so much more engaging, and I love the fact that you guys are just going off on your own conversations right there in chat. We can't keep up with you. But yeah, so we've only got a handful of episodes left ahead. In 2 weeks, we will have our fan episode here. Be the S.H.I.E.L.D. Wear your mask. Save us all.
And be excellent to each other.
Most indeed. Actually, interesting story. Just a quick aside. Apparently, by mask usage, they have wiped out the seasonal cold in the southern hemisphere this season. It's winter down there, folks. They're not getting the cold because they've all been wearing masks, and socially distancing. So, just a thought. I don't want to get too political. That's just good science right there. So anyway, thanks so much for joining us. 2 weeks will be our big fan special. We got 3 more weeks of episodes ahead, 4 altogether, because the last is a 2 episodes back to back. Where they're going to go, we don't know. There's going to be Hydra. There's going to be Nathaniel. We still got to deal with Sybil. And at some point, ultimately, save Coulson. Isn't that really the key? Isn't that the mission of the whole season? And yes, I would hate to lose this team. We still have to have Daisy spin off to do her own sword series on Disney+. That's going to wrap things up for me. Don, why don't you say goodbye to everyone? Let everyone know where they can find you.
Well, of course, you can find me here every Friday on Fans of S.H.I.E.L.D. You can also find me at my channel, The Dawn of Ice and Fire. And find me on Twitter at iDonWillie. That's IDONWILLI. Thank you for having me as always. And Rob, why don't you take it away?
All right. Well, you can find me on my channel, Smirking Gun Reviews, where we're reviewing Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Perry Mason. On Twitter, you can find me at reviews_gun. And on Twitch, we're playing Ghost of Tsushima still. On my channel, Smirking Gun Plays on Twitch. And just really quickly, if you guys want to watch another great time loop episode of TV, check out The X-Files Season 6, Episode 14. It is called Monday. Follows a lot of the same kind of beats as this episode.
Excellent. Good. Always a good X-Files reference is appreciated here. I am, of course, Derek Jakes. This is my channel, D's Reviews. I do Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. reviews every Wednesday night. And, of course, eventually, who knows when, at some point at the end of the year, we might be seeing a season finale review for The Walking Dead, if it ever comes out. I think there's supposed to be actually some announcement from Comic-Con at home today or tomorrow. You can always catch me on Twitter. I am at Darren Jakes. Did they say when it was coming out? Did you
I didn't watch it, but I saw that there was a trailer for it.
Okay, so you guys probably already
know.
No, I'm saying you guys here watching probably already know what the date is before I do. I'm going to have to go look that up, but I think it will be coming up later on this year. And then, of course, coming up, we're going to continue this grouping of individuals when The Boys drops on September 4th. We will figure out what day of the week and what time as things go forward. But fans of S.H.I.E.L.D. will be, of course, fans of The Boys. And then looking forward into the return of The Mandalorian later on this year. So thank you guys so much for joining me. Please be sure to like, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, and tell all your friends about us. We'll catch you all next week. Y'all have a good night. Bye-bye. Wear a mask. Be the shield. Watch out for everyone. It's good.